Okay, so whatever I have promised you on the demo one, right, which is like everything will be taken from the basic onwards, and that is still valid. If you have gone through with the demo two, and if you could not understand anything, that again was my fault over there, which I could not understand that the other people are also were there. So if you would not have understood this, do not worry for that. We will be going completely from scratch. If you see, this is the schedule. We have a schedule for Playwright using JavaScript or by and like TypeScript. So here we'll be going through with the JavaScript. So in our demo zero, which is like day zero, we'll be going through with the prerequisite part, which used to be the part of demo itself. So that used to be our day zero, where we'll see like few types of installation. What are the prerequisites that we require to work with Playwright? What are the prerequisites that we require to work with JavaScript? What are the different tools and technology? I'll mention over here in our session that what are the different tools and technology we'll be learning across the course today. Okay, day one will be again the few of the recap, like how do we go for the installation, and then we'll be going for basic understanding of a JavaScript, which is how do we declare a variable. Right? It's completely basic, and then we'll be going to a data types, operators, statements, loops, functions. These are pretty basic things which we have to understand to go to the next level inside a JavaScript. After completion of a function, we'll be going to the advanced JavaScript, which is array, string, object, and classes. So do not worry that I'll directly jump to the Playwright. I'll first complete everything, whatever we have mentioned from a day zero to day 12 will be taken for only and only JavaScript. So everything will be covering up in the basic part for first like JavaScript. And then you'll see from the day 13 onwards, we have the Playwright coming into picture. Again, inside the Playwright as well, we'll go through one more time, how do we set up the Playwright environment? And there we'll also discuss how do we set up for the JavaScript as well. And from there onwards, we'll go again in a basic. So second demo session was this one, was a class for day 30 that we generally used to go for. Okay, but just wanted to show you people that how easy it used to be in terms of writing something. That is where I mentioned in our demo one session that probably you might not understand, but just try to see how easy it used to be. We'll be starting from a day 13. Day 14 will be a basic to understand how do we write the test case, what are the different configuration that we have in terms of installation of Playwright. As if you still remember, I said in the demo one session that installation of Playwright takes 30 seconds of time, just 30 seconds. That means creation of a like, creation of a Playwright framework just take 30 seconds of time. You can mark my word as well, or you can note it down. When we go for installation of Playwright, you will see like it just take 30 seconds of time. So that complete folder structure of the framework we have to understand. And then we'll go for a basic things to check, like few of the methods that Playwright have given, which is helpful for us in terms of setting up and tear down. That means automatically setting up the browser and automatically closing the browser after the completion of test case. And after that, we'll take a two complete demo session, two complete day to understand only the locators. To understand only the locators, which is CSS selector, XPath, and Playwright specific few of the methods that it has given. And later, after understanding the locator, then only we'll move to the next step. So if you see over here, from the day zero to day one, everything have been given in a synchronous order. Synchronous order means if you want to understand function, before that you have to understand loops. If you want to understand loops, before that you have to understand statements. If you want to understand statements, before that we have to go through with the operators. And if you want to again understand the operators, let's say addition, right? You are trying to add two numbers. But what is that two numbers? So we have to understand data types over there. But what is data type? For that, before that, we have to understand variables. And if you want to understand array, we have to understand first function. Different methods that are available inside string. So we have to understand again few of the concept of array. And again, if you want to go for objects, you have to understand all these, whatever the prerequisite things are there. And at the end, when we go to the classes, we have to understand what is function, array, string, objects, and everything. In the same way, I have also given for the Playwright. It's been like close to 2.5 years. I know like what people used to expect in terms of a demo session. Close to 2.5 years in terms of teaching only the Playwright. So I know like what people used to expect, and that is what I used to deliver over here in demo. I can give you the many other things in terms of a demo. Probably few of you will understand, few of you will not. I can get the more and more enrollment over there as well. But when you go to a main course, that means whatever you see over here, we used to cover it in such a way that, however, I have worked from the past 3 years on the Playwright itself. However, I am currently going through with the Playwright tools and technology. Currently in the organization, will go in the same way. Okay, so what generally I used to show in the demo that before joining the session, you were in a position where you were not able to understand anything. But after completion of the session, you will be in a position where you will be able to develop everything from scratch, completely from scratch. And that is where I used to show for like 10-15 minutes of time to give you the advanced level of the things to check how you are over there in before the demo, like before the real session will start, and after the demo, after the completion of course, you will be able to judge yourself over there. Okay, so every steps that you see over here, every day that you see over here are in a synchronous order, completely synchronous order. That means before the next things that we have to understand, we have to understand a couple of things. Then before we go for drop down, we have to understand checkbox and few mouse operations and so on. So everything have been given in a synchronous order to understand before we go to the next, understand the before things and all. So that is where I have created or curated the course for a complete 35 days sessions, which will ultimately take close to around 40 hours of session. Okay. Still, if you people have any kind of confusion or you have any kind of doubt to basically decide upon like 10% or 50%, 50% kind of, if you want to talk, you can also talk to me personally as well. Over the phone, you will get my contact number inside your group as well. Okay. So do not get confused. Any questions that you have, ask frankly. Please, you can also drop me a message. I'll also be able to reply. Okay. Now let's move to our agenda 3, which is a demo 3. So that is where you, if you see like demo 2 was not considered as a demo over here. So today is demo 3 that will look into the prerequisite to work with Playwright and JavaScript. And few of the installation also will go through, but before the installation, we'll mention what are the different tools and technology we'll be learning over here in our course. Okay, so again, any question that you have, feel free to ask. Plus, if any one of you are over here who have not shared your contact number, please do share so that today is like last demonstration. So from tomorrow onwards, you'll start getting the document. Okay. Now let's get started with the first point over here, which is what used to be the prerequisite to work with Playwright and JavaScript. Now, before we go for a Playwright, we'll first be understanding a JavaScript, and then we'll be going for a Playwright. Now, to understand JavaScript, in terms of a prerequisite for for enrollment or for a student going for a course, you do not need to have any kind of prerequisite. The only basic things that I would require is if you understand what is testing, that will be enough. And if you also understand how do we write the test case, that is more than enough to join the session. Okay, that is prerequisite to join the session. Now, when we talk about a prerequisite over here, prerequisite for JavaScript and Playwright, right? So before we understand this, in this course, in the complete Playwright and JavaScript course, we will be learning first JavaScript, will be completely from basic to advanced level. Second, we'll be going for a Playwright over here. So when we go ahead with like understanding of a JavaScript, and all, in that case, we'll also be learning with one editor known as, what is editor? I'll let you know in a few minutes, which we'll be using over here as a Visual Studio Code. So that also you'll be learning, and then we'll be moving towards Playwright. After understanding of Playwright, we'll move to check like how do we generate an LU report. LU report by default Playwright does not support, but it's just an installation and it will start supporting over here. So we'll see like how do we generate an LU report. HTML report will be by default generated by Playwright that we have seen in our previous session. After this, after understanding of LU reports inside the frameworks, we'll also be going to understand the complete page object model framework. So this will come up uh, before understanding of the LU report. After generation of LU report, we'll understand GitHub completely from scratch. GitHub will be understanding, which used to be a version control tool. Version control tool. Okay, what is version control tool is that again you'll come to know at that point of time. But in general, inside your organization, there'll be n number of people who can work inside the same project, inside the same repository, right, for the same application. So whenever any question over here? Okay, if no,
Jenkins also will be covering it, right? Last.
yeah, I'll come to that. I see some background noise. Are you trying to ask any questions? I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to mute. Okay, thanks. So, so we'll understand version control too. That means many members will be working on the same repository, same applications. So once you push the code, whatever you have written the code in terms of a test automation, that should also be available to the other people as well. So that is where we'll be using a GitHub or Bitbucket. Both will be same. Either you use a GitHub or Bitbucket, both will be exactly similar in the same way. After that, we'll understand first GitHub Actions. GitHub Actions is one of a CI/CD pipeline, like CI/CD that we can use it over here. After understanding of a GitHub Actions, we'll also understand Jenkins over here for again a CI/CD pipeline. Okay. And in this course also, we'll show you how do we use a Docker for parallel testing as well. Generally, we do not require a parallel testing. For a Playwright, we do not require Docker to be utilized because parallel testing is supported in a very smooth way by the Playwright. So we do not require any Docker setup, but not for the Playwright. In general, I'll also show you that how can you set up a Docker over here in a generic way, like in the form of generic. Okay. After understanding of a Docker, you will have you will also be understanding like you'll also be developing some capstone project using all the tools and technology that we have discussed over here, which is JavaScript, Visual Studio Code Editor, Playwright as a tool, Page Object Model Framework, LU reporting, GitHub and GitHub Actions, or either GitHub Actions or Jenkins, and then a capstone project. Whatever the project that you will be developing over here, you will be using all these inside the project. And this will make your project however we utilize inside the organization, or however we utilize inside the current organization, or wherever I am working or wherever other people works, they'll be going through in the same way. And that is where I said in the first session that the framework that we'll be developing inside our session will be exactly similar to however we define in the organization. I would like to show you over here. Probably you will not understand this, but if you see over here, this is the framework, what we have categorized, which is having a page object model, page, test data layer is separately, utility folder are separately, everything have been covered over here. And we are also dynamically managing, because in terms of a course, we'll be using one particular application or different application for trying to check multiple scenarios or multiple topics. But in general, when you go inside an organization, there'll be three different applications that you'll be using. One will be for QA environment, second will be for staging environment, and third will be for production environment. So how you can switch dynamically, that also we have configured over here. For those data, we have configured over here. And this is how we generally derive inside any organization. You can use the data inside the environment file. You can use the data inside the JSON file, and you can use the data inside the Excel file. So all three different ways we have gone through over here to make you understand that how do you define the data and so on. So again, these things we'll understand in our going forward whenever we go for framework development. And that
So
is
Ravi,
where I was, yes.
sorry to interrupt. Are we going to use real projects, like, because generally if we would be applying for we would be applying for an automation role, so there would be questions which might just be based on our experience. But since we don't have any experience in automation, will you be showing real projects that
So,
how?
so right. So we'll be using one application for creation of a project, and that will give you the confidence to answer any kind of questions in terms of framework. Okay, so we'll be using one application. We have like a couple of dummy e-commerce application where we'll be like completely doing the framework over there inside the same application.
Okay, so
Okay,
basically we'll be writing
we
the code and
we will not only be generating the framework, we'll be writing the code inside that as well. So if you see over here, we have built a framework, which we have written some kind of code inside this, some kind of code inside this, and some kind of code inside this as well. And we have also developed few of the test case. If you see, this is for other page, this is for other page, this is using again data-driven testing, this is using JSON format, Excel format, and so on. Many things we'll be building inside the framework as well. So whenever you go for any kind of interview after the completion of framework, we'll be in a position to answer everything inside this. And that is where I was trying to show you. These used to be a generic um, questions for the experienced people. Whenever you go inside the configuration file, you see this one. This we are trying to get the environment file. So they'll ask you like, how, you have three different environment or three different URL. How will you manage that inside your project? So all the things will be same inside our framework, inside the framework whenever we create page object model framework inside our course.
Okay, so basically after this course, we will be in a position to actually go and build the framework
Framework
for
completely
project.
from scratch.
Okay.
Completely from scratch, and that you can directly utilize inside your organization as well if you are the one who are developing the framework.
Oh,
If it is already existing, then you cannot copy paste the same thing, but format will be entirely same.
okay.
Praveen,
Okay.
this is Sanjay. One
Right.
question while taking this course, I'm sure you'll be providing us some VM to practice, during the course, right?
Right, yes.
And for each student, there'll be a separate VM. And will it be hosted on AWS or in your environment, in your lab?
Right, in my environment it will not be hosted inside the AWS.
And once the course is over, then our access will go away, or we can continue to use it.
No, you can lifetime access.
Okay, thank you.
Right? So you'll have, it is not restricted. Whatever the things that will be providing you either for a practice or for interview purpose will be having a lifetime access.
And that will be some Linux VM, right?
Sorry?
Will that be Linux VM or some Windows VM?
Will be in a Windows itself.
Okay.
All the things you'll be getting. We have document available inside the drive folder, so those things anyways will not be getting deleted the access. You will having everything for the document inside the
Okay.
drive, having an access completely. All the practice things, whatever you have to do, also have been uploaded inside the same, so you'll get the access for those as well.
Okay. So we don't
Right.
have to set up anything on our PCs, right? It will be in
Nothing.
your lab, right?
Right. Nothing. You don't have to set up anything.
Okay.
Right. So let's start with what used to be the prerequisite to work with JavaScript. Right. So whenever we start working with a JavaScript or any tools and technology, irrespective of JavaScript, TypeScript, Java, Python, C#, and so on, right? So whenever we have to start with a JavaScript, we need to install some kind of things inside our system or wherever you are working inside your system. You have to install some kind of things. And why do we need to install is so that whenever you write some kind of code, that will be understandable that you have written a code or a program or test case either using a JavaScript, TypeScript, Java, Python, or any other language. Now, if I just give you like few of you have also worked on Selenium using Java, or most of you might have practiced Java in your courses or in terms of a practice, right? So whenever we have to work with Java, we generally install JDK. JDK stands for Java Development Kit. And inside the Java Development Kit, you will also be getting a JRE, which stands for Java Runtime Environment, which will help us in terms of executing the code that we'll be writing using Java language, right? So in the same way, whenever you have to work with Python, you have to install Python inside your system so that whenever you write the code, it will be understandable and will also be able to execute your code. That means run your code, right? Likewise, when you work with a JavaScript, we also have to install some kind of things. And in terms of JavaScript, we have to first install one thing that we have to install is Node.js. Node.js. What is Node.js? Node.js is a JRE for JavaScript. Node.js is a JRE for JavaScript, which stands for JavaScript Runtime Environment. JavaScript Runtime Environment. Okay. Just ignore the typo over here. JavaScript Runtime Environment is basically stands over here for JRE. And Node.js work in the same way. However, JRE works inside the Java. That means why do we need to install Node.js is when we install a Node.js inside our system, this Node.js will help us in executing the code that we'll be writing using JavaScript. This Node.js will help us in executing. This will help us in running the code that we write using JavaScript. Okay, so whatever the code, either it is a programming language, or it is a printing something on the console, or it is something like you write using Playwright, like test cases and all, or you write an advanced programming, Node.js will help us in executing those code that we write using JavaScript. And that is why we require a Node.js. So consider it as a prerequisite to work with JavaScript. In the same way, example, let's say if you have to, let's say go to the college, right, for the study. What is the prerequisite over there is we need to take admission inside the college. right? So when you take an admission, then only you will be allowed to sit inside the class and learn whatever you are trying to learn, right? So that becomes a prerequisite to take the admission, and then probably you will be able to go to the so-and-so schools or colleges. In the same way, if you are trying to work with a JavaScript, we have to install Node.js, which will help us in executing the code that we have to that we'll be writing using JavaScript inside your system. Okay, so that is the first prerequisite. Along with the Node.js, npm will also get installed automatically. npm will get installed automatically along with Node.js. Now, what is the use of npm over here? Now, what is the use of npm over here? So npm stands for Node Packaging Manager. npm stands for Node Packaging Manager. Okay, what is the use of npm is npm will help us in managing, installing, and sharing any kind of software that we are trying to install for JavaScript. npm will help us in installing, managing, and storing whatever the software, jar, tools that we are trying to work with related to a JavaScript. So whenever you have to install any other tools and technology going forward, whenever we have to install any other tools and technology going forward, we'll have to install by using npm command itself. So npm stands for Node Packaging Manager, which manages all the software that have been developed using JavaScript, that have been developed using Node.js, and that have been developed using TypeScript. So all the software that have been developed using JavaScript, TypeScript, Node.js will be hosted on the npm server. npm stands for Node Packaging Manager, which manages all the different types of software, jars, tools, packages, whatever it have been developed using JavaScript, TypeScript, and Node.js. Okay, so whenever we work with JavaScript and TypeScript, and if we have to install any other third-party tool, we'll be taking the help of npm. We'll be taking the help of npm command. Okay, any question over here till now or till here?
So we just download it on our machine, all this?
Which will be downloaded inside our system. Yes.
So we'll have to get this installed. Will you be sharing the links and all that? How can we get this installed?
Everything
Okay.
will be shared. Okay. Any other question related to this from anyone over here right now? Okay. So again, when we talk about this, is again the first prerequisite. One is Node.js we have to install, and along with Node.js, npm will also get installed over here. Along with Node.js, we do not have to specifically install the npm. Along with Node.js, it will automatically get installed inside our system. That I'll show you again in our session today. Okay, so that is the first one, that we have a prerequisite, which to work with a JavaScript, we need to have Node.js installed inside our system. And second is we need to have an editor. So this one will also come along with the JavaScript itself. So this is not the second one. This will automatically be installed along with the JavaScript. And second prerequisite that we need to have is an editor. Okay, so editor is a place. Editor is basically a tools again. An editor is a place where we will be writing our code. We will be writing our code and store it inside our system. So generally what happen is whenever you try to write the code, right? Whenever you try to write the code, it is not something that you just write something over here, which is, let's say, console.log. Do not worry what I'm trying to write over here, but this is a command, or this is a command in JavaScript and TypeScript to print something on the console, which is console.log, right? So let's say we have written something over here, console.log. This is also one of a editor where we can write something, where we can store something. But how does this editor understand that we have written the code in using either JavaScript, TypeScript, Java, Python, or any other language? This editor will not be able to understand, right? So we require an editor where we write something which will be understandable in the same language that we have written, either using JavaScript, Java, or any other language, right? So in that way, we have a different editor that are available in the market, which starts with a basic one, which is Eclipse. We have IntelliJ. We have Visual Studio Code, which is having a short form as VS Code, Studio Code, which is also known as a VS Code, which have again been developed. Visual Studio Code have been developed by Microsoft. Playwright have also been developed by Microsoft. And again, we have another one, which is Cursor as well. So in our session, we'll be using a Visual Studio Code over here. Visual Studio Code have been developed by Microsoft, and it is very user-friendly when you work with JavaScript or TypeScript. It's very user-friendly when we work with. Now, why do we need Visual Studio Code? Because whenever you like such kind of code inside the Visual Studio Code, it will be able to understand what language that you have written. Okay, and not only that, today probably I'm writing it over here, I can store somewhere. But let's say if I have to again write something, I'll create some other files over here. Probably after a month or two, it might get deleted, right? Whenever you work inside any of the editor that you see over here, which is, let's say, Visual Studio Code, example, this one. So you will be also creating one folder that is known as a project that you are trying to create. So whenever you create a project, that will get stored inside your local system. And whenever later you have to refer it out, you can directly open inside this code and it will display in the same way, however you have practiced inside your course, inside your practice things. So we require an editor where we can store our code, plus we can write our code so that it will be understandable by the editor that we have used JavaScript over here. So second, I'm so sorry. Second is editor we require over here. And these are the two prerequisites that we need to work with JavaScript. That's it. Other than this, we do not require any other things to be installed to work with JavaScript. Now, when we work with a Playwright, when we go and integrate again Playwright using JavaScript, so there again and again, we do not have to install. Once you install Node.js, will be available unless and until you uninstall from your system. Editor will be again the same thing. Once you install, will be available unless and until you delete this from your system. Okay, so whenever we start working with a
downloading these editor, these are also free, right? Like
I'll come to that. I'll definitely come to that. So I'll like complete this for Playwright and then I'll come to that. Okay, now when we work with a Playwright, apart from these two things, which is Node.js and editor, we only have to install Playwright inside our system. We only have to install Playwright inside our system. And that Playwright installation we can do by using code. So earlier, what did I say is npm will be one thing that we require to install anything related to JavaScript or TypeScript or Node.js, right? In the same way, Playwright have been developed using, again, JavaScript and TypeScript itself. So whenever we have to again install the Playwright, we can simply take the help of npm command over here. So to install Playwright, we have a command known as npm init Playwright. npm stands for Node Packaging Manager. Init stands for initialize, and Playwright is the tool that we are trying to install over here. This will be a command which will set up everything for us inside our system for basically to work with Playwright. Now, when we talk about a JavaScript and when we talk about a Playwright, both of them are completely open source. JavaScript is also open source available. Playwright is also available as an open source. That means you do not have to pay any single rupees to work with either JavaScript or Playwright. And we also do not have to pay any kind of amount to install Node.js, to install editor, and to install Playwright inside our system. Everything will be free of cost over here. Everything will be free of cost in this case. Okay, whatever the installation will be doing, few of them we can directly go to the browser and from there we can download. Few of the things will be installing with command using npm. Okay, clear everything till now? What prerequisite that we require in terms of working with JavaScript and Playwright? Okay, so just try to like give some kind of response so that it will be better and I can approach for the next thing.
Understood.
Right. Okay. Right. So now in this one, what are the things that we required is a Node.js editor, which will start with a Visual Studio Code and then Playwright over here. Right. So let's go ahead and see how do we install these three things inside our system to work with. We will be installing Node.js and editor in our session today, and Playwright we'll see, or else again I can give you a demo how do we install Playwright. But Playwright we generally require at the time of going through it or starting with a Playwright topic. But I'll show you how easy it used to be. Now, first thing that we have to install is Node.js. So to install Node.js, you can go to any of the favorite browser that you use inside your system. Go and search for Node.js download. Node.js download. Okay. So as soon as you search, it will return us some kind of result, and then you can from there you can go to download Node.js over here. If any one of you are trying to install, you can install it along the way so that you'll understand. If you have any kind of issues, you can also rectify over here. But anyways, anytime whenever you try to install this, if you face any kind of issues, you can ping me so that I'll help. Now this is something where we have to go. The first result it says that download Node.js. You can click on this. It will take us to the download page over here. And inside this, depending on what operating system that you are trying to use, everything will be automatically taken over here. And this will display you Windows installer in terms of if you are working on Windows operating system, and it will open Mac OS installer, which is this one in terms of if you are working with like MacBook or Mac OS. If you're working with Linux, then it will display you related to a Linux and other that are available over here. But by default, whichever operating system you are trying to use, it will automatically take over here. Second thing, you will also see this drop down, which displays all the different versions that are available for Playwright. Okay, so the current, for Node.js. So the current version that are available for Node.js is version 24.1.0, which have been mentioned as current. But we do not have to install current one. It will automatically take the LTS version over here. It will automatically display the LTS. LTS stands for latest stable version. Latest stable one. It says that this is a current one, but this is not stable right now. Wherever you see LTS, that is the latest stable version that are available in the market. Okay, so you can simply go and click on this window installer. If you're working on Mac OS, then Mac OS installer, or any other things, then that particular installer. It will download this installer over here. You can click on this. As soon as you click, it will open a setup wizard over here. Setup wizard, where you have to click few times next. For my system, it is already available. For my system, it is already available. So it is saying that, do you want to change, repair, or remove? I'm just saying it as change. For you, this option will not be displayed. If it is not available, if Node.js is not available already inside your system, then it will not display this option over here. I have clicked on change, and for you, it will directly display this particular window over here. You don't have to do anything in this case. Or if you want to automatically set it up inside the path, inside the environment path, then you can select this option, which will automatically set up Node.js inside your system. That will also be going through, we'll be going to check how do we set up that. This is by default, it will be selected. So you can click on next. Again, click on next over here. You do not have to do anything. And then for you, it will ask, it will have a button known as install. For you, it will be install. For me, it is changed because it is already available inside my system. As soon as you click on install, it will ask you for a permission to allow to install this. So you have to click on yes button. And within few seconds, this Node.js installation will be completed. After completion of that, it will give you a message saying that completed the Node.js setup wizard. Click the finish button to exit the setup wizard. So you can simply click on this finish button. For few of you, a terminal will be opened after clicking on finish button. Like this kind of terminal will get opened on your page. Like this kind of terminal you will see that will open on your page. You can simply close that. You do not have to do anything. You can simply close that. But how, I'll come to you, Silly. But how do you understand whether the Node.js have been successfully installed our system or not, or installed inside our system or not? For that, either you can go to a command prompt or you can open a terminal, any of the thing, either command prompt or terminal. Windows people can use either command prompt or a terminal. Mac OS people can use terminal directly. Go to the terminal or go to the command prompt and then say it over here saying that node space minus v. Node space minus v. Minus v stands for version. Here we are trying to check the version of the Node.js that it have installed inside our system. So if you hit enter, if it is displaying you the version that you have installed over here, that means the Node.js setup have been completed inside our system. That means the Node.js have been installed successfully inside our system. Okay. And where it have been installed inside our system is for a window people that will be directly installed inside your operating system, which is C drive. And then you can check it inside the program files. In C drive, program files, and inside this, you will see one option known as Node.js. This is one option known as Node.js as a folder. You can click this, and whatever the path that it is displaying over here, you can just select that, because this path we have to set it up inside our environment variable. This path we have to set it up inside environment variable. So Node.js will be globally available inside our system. Okay. Yes, there was one question, I believe. There was one hand raised. Please go ahead if you have any question.
Yeah, hi, this is Sandeep. I actually have two questions here. One is about I have an older version of uh, npm and node installed on my Mac. So how do I upgrade it, and will it be required? And the second question is that you just spoke about the path thing. So is it required for the MacBook? That's the second question. Okay.
Yes, yes. For MacBook as well, it is required. Generally, even for Windows as well, it is not required. But just to be on a safer side, that it understand that we are writing our code in different languages, so that we can set it up inside our environment variable. That is also required for MacBook as well, or Mac OS as well. Okay. For your first question, when you work with a Playwright, you need to have node version greater than 18 available inside your system. Node version greater than 18. And if you want to update, however, I have done just now, you have to do in the same way. You can go to the browser, search for that. For you, it will display this one, which is macOS installer. You can click on this. It will set up the Node.js of the latest version inside your system. You do not have to delete the previous one or uninstall the previous one. It will automatically do the work for you.
Okay, so it will be upgraded on its own, I believe,
It will be
or
upgraded
it will.
automatically.
Okay.
It will
Okay.
be
Great. Thank
upgraded.
Praveen, Ahana here,
Yes.
but it is not working at me. Even I am having a old version of Node and it's not up. I just upgraded the Node and still it is not fetching version. So I'm having a V20 version. So graded version like V24. So any
You do
brief
not
command
have
we
to.
have.
You do not have to select V24.
Yeah.
Whatever it is displaying over here as LTS, that you have to select.
Okay. So
LTS is a latest stable version.
is this possible for Mac?
It is also same for the Mac as well.
Okay. But any
Same
brief
step.
command is there?
We are basically trying to install Node.js. So if you want to install using a view command as well, we have a command to install.
Yeah, but I
Uh,
wanted to upgrade Node by using brief command. So I'm finding that command on internet also. Well, let me try.
you can find it out. You can
Yeah,
find
yeah,
it out. But
fine. I will check.
right. So you can find it out, but you will be able to install with the Humbree as well. I believe you
Yeah,
have to just
install.
write a command which is brew install node
Yeah,
will
I
help you.
install. Yes, I installed latest version of Node, but right now I wanted to switch old to new version. One
Old
minute.
to new version. Okay, I'll send you the command for that. There used to be a command to set the newer version over there. I'll send you that command.
Okay, fine. Thanks.
Right.
Praveen, I installed it on the Mac and it shows the version also, like version 23.7 when I gave node minus V. But then how do I see this like node.exe if I just want to open it? Where will I find it?
Node.exe. Okay. So for you, that will be available inside /users /your name. And inside that, you will get one folder name, which is
On
Node.js
on the
on
Mac?
your Mac. Yes. Users, your username, and inside that, you'll find out the Node.js.
Okay, I'll check. Okay.
Right. Okay. So, and if you want to set it up for MacBook people, I'll provide you the command to set it up. For Windows people, it's pretty easy. You can just search environment variable. It will return you something like this, which is edit the system environment variable. Click on this, and then it will open this window where you have to click on environment variable again. This will open this particular window. Anyways, this is recorded, so you can refer it later as well. And go to the system variable. Inside the system variable, you can click on new button over here. Click on new button and then provide the variable name as node underscore home. Node underscore home and value the path of the Node.js wherever it have been installed. path of the Node.js wherever it have been installed, that you can provide it over here. Click on OK. I have already provided over here that you can see inside this one. So I'll just click on cancel, but you can click on OK, again click OK, again click OK, and that will close the environment variable setup. Second is for MacBook people, I have a command which we can utilize this, or I can share it with you to check like how do we do the setup of a Node.js. Let's see, where do we have? Okay, for you, I'll share you the code. I'll share you the code to set up again from in terms of setting up the like path to your variable. Okay, so as soon as you set up, generally it does not require, but just to be on a safer side, we try to do that. Okay, so this will install your Node.js. I'll share you the path. Like I'll share you the command to set it up your path in Node.js path inside your either if you're using bash profile, then using bash profile, or using any kind of nano as well, we'll be able to set up. Now, for the second prerequisite that we have, which is editor installation, right? For the second is editor, which in this case will require a Visual Studio Code. The access is same over here as well. The download process is same. Go to this, whatever the browser that you are trying to use, and search for a Visual Studio Code download. Go to the first result that it displays having a download Visual Studio Code. Click on this, it will take us to the download page. And depending on your operating system, you can click on any of the things over here. And this will also open a wizard. For me, it will not allow to, because I have Visual Studio Code opened over here. So it will not allow to do this. But for you, you will see something like this. So when it displays, it will again be an executable software, which is in the form of wizard. So you'll get the same option as we have gotten at the time of Node.js. You have to simply click couple of times, and later it will get installed within 30 seconds of time. As soon as it get installed, you'll get something like this automatically open for you. Something like this will get opened, where you'll also get a welcome screen on the page. You will also get a welcome screen on the page. You do not have to check any version over here. As soon as it get installed, this will automatically open this Node.js, like Visual Studio Code over here, along with welcome screen on your page. Okay, you can try to do this, and from here, like that will be the end of the prerequisite of the setting up JavaScript inside our system. To verify again, we have basically installed Node.js. One thing also we have to validate that we have installed a Node.js. So to check Node.js have been installed or not, we have a command as node space -v. And earlier, if you still remember, I said along with the Node.js, npm will also get installed automatically. So to check that, you have to say npm space -v, and whatever the version that it has installed, it will display automatically over here. And this npm will help us in installing anything related to JavaScript, TypeScript, and Node.js that will be going forward using inside our system for the course content as well. Okay. So the third one that is left out is a Playwright. We'll see probably in our next session first, and then we'll start with our course, which will be starting with the JavaScript. Okay, so that's about the session for our today's session. If you have any kind of questions, feel free to ask. Else, we'll continue again in the next session, right? Where we'll go through with to check like how do we install Playwright, and then we'll also start with basics things to understand how do we work with the Visual Studio Code, and then we'll go through with the basics of JavaScript. Okay. If you have any question, feel free to ask. Else, we'll continue again in the next session.
Praveen, actually, in my system, Node version 21, it would be fine.
Node version 21, that should be okay. Anything greater than 18 should be okay.
And NPM 10 version 10.2.
NPM is okay. NPM should be somewhere greater than 9, should be okay for us.
I need a help. To install the Node.js, I selected D drive. I checked the Node.js folder. I'm not able to see it. So
Right. So if you have selected delete,
D
you have
drive.
selected delete, right?
No, D drive.
D drive.
Yeah.
Okay. So inside the D drive, you should be able to see.
And can I share my screen?
Yes, you can.
I'm able to see the version, NPM version. Everything is correct. See, in D drive, I selected. So these are all the. I'm not able to see Node.js.
You can.
Do I need
Okay.
to install it again?
Inside Node.js, it have been installed. So if you see this Node modules, code pack, all these are a part of Node.js itself.
Okay, then to take the path to set the environment variable, what I have to do?
Right. So you just have to check it like D, whatever it is displaying over here. But it always better. What you can do is you can also install it once again and let it keep at the same place. By default place, it will take it as C. Then inside that, program files, and inside that Node.js. So let it take it. That will be better over there. Okay. Right. So that's about it, and we'll again continue in the next session tomorrow. Okay. Thanks a lot, everyone. And we'll
Classes
see you
will be
again
from
in the next
Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday classes?
Monday to Friday.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot, everyone.